What's up, Tesla family? It's Ray J back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with SPY, Tesla, and the overall markets. I'm going to break down some big news that just came out that's very important for Tesla that caused the share price to slow down as we had some bad news. But Tesla's now denying that news, so I'm going to break down what's going on with this. I'm going to talk about the economic calendar moving forward as we have more data that could affect Tesla at 10 a.m., not to mention what's going on with the share prices. Just know that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I'm saying as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out my Moomoo link. If you deposit $100, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks. If you deposit $2,000, you're guaranteed 25 in total. And deposit $5,000, you're guaranteed 60. Just keep the money in the account for at least 60 days. You'll also qualify for an 8.1% APY on uninvested cash. And this offer ends on June 3rd. Anyways, as far as Tesla's going, we're kind of lackluster compared to the market because I think that a lot of Tesla's momentum did end up slowing down after we got some big news. You could see that SPY and the QQQ are both up like almost or even above 1%. But instead of trying to be up at least 2%, which is how much Tesla should have been up, Tesla's just barely holding up right now because we got some bad news that's kind of hurting this momentum. So instead of holding up, we got some news. Let's talk about what that was. There was some news that came out that a lot of Tesla's board members were very irritated with Elon Musk and the team, and that they basically had been looking for a replacement of Elon Musk. Many sources have said that they were kind of pressuring Elon Musk to do a better job. And that's the reason why Elon Musk announced on the earnings call that starting next month that he would once again allocate more of his time to Tesla. Next month, it would basically be today, starting in the month of May. So that's what a lot of headlines were saying yesterday. That caused Tesla to actually dump a bit. That's why we saw Tesla back in like the 278 area. But there was some more news that came out that despite that bad news, it turns out that Tesla is now saying that that's not true, that that's not necessarily what ended up happening. So Tesla tweeted this. Earlier today, there was a media report that claimed that the board had conducted a recruitment of firms, right, to initiate a CEO search at the company. This is absolutely false, and this was communicated to the media before the report was published. The CEO of Tesla is basically it's still Elon Musk is what they're trying to say. Let me just actually go to this just so that you guys can see this. They're saying that the CEO of Tesla is Elon Musk and the board is highly confident in his ability to continue to do what's necessary. So keep that in mind. That's what Robin Denholm has said. So that's some very, very big news that's come out. So that's why Tesla ended up dumping. Now it's getting bought back up a little bit, but it's just barely holding up. It's showing some weakness ever since this news came out. Even though Tesla's board is denying this, there's still lots of reports circulating that Tesla's board wants to replace Elon Musk and this and that, and lots of fears kind of like coming because of this. So that's part of why we're seeing Tesla still underperforming a bit. So keep that in mind. On top of this, when it comes to President Trump's tariffs, what he's been saying, he has been saying the same things as before about how his tariffs are going to be once again used as a mechanism to create fairness and to help the U.S. economy in a lot of different ways, at least for the longer term. He wants to kind of like fix a lot of different things, but there's going to be some turbulence, at least for the short term. Even President Trump did acknowledge that by saying that there will be higher prices coming. There's going to be, he's implying that there's going to be some pain, but he doesn't think it's going to lead to a recession, even though other experts may disagree. So we'll see about that, but there's not really too much to say that's new from what he's been saying since yesterday, but I'll keep you guys updated in case he says anything else. On top of this, the US and Ukraine could be signing a deal very soon involving the minerals deals. That's some good news that could be coming out. So that's some big news, and then we'll have to see what else ends up happening, at least involving other circumstances. Today's Thursday, it's May 1st, so happy May, everyone. Let me just say that we got initial jobless claims that was actually above expectations, and the other jobs reports were actually decent, with jobless claims on the 4-week average a little bit above expectations, but not too far. At 9:45 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, we have the S&P Global Manufacturing PMI. Then at 10 a.m., we have some big data coming out. We have the ISM Manufacturing PMI, the manufacturing employment, manufacturing new orders, and then prices all coming out. So get ready for some high volatility because of this. This does typically shake the markets because manufacturing makes up such a big sector in our economy, and we'll see what that leads to. Also, keep in mind that with the way in which the market moved, at least for the month of April, we saw a lot of volatility. Now, for this month, to start things off, the market is going to try to gap up thanks to Microsoft and Meta's earnings, which is good so far. That's going to help the market to start things off. But whether or not this squeeze is going to continue is going to depend on this manufacturing data. So watch for that. McDonald's did not have the best of earnings. We saw declining sales, and then besides that, there was some bad news that came out for Apple, as there's a very, very big lawsuit going on, a very big investigation going on, excuse me. So keep that in mind. Um, Besides that, also know that today we have Amazon and Apple announcing earnings, so we'll see how that goes. Anyways, Tesla's a little bit weak right now ever since that news came out that the board could be replacing Elon Musk. Instead of continuing to push with the market, Tesla ended up getting a little rug pull here, so it's not the best of news for it. In this case, we're going to be looking for a test of essentially 280. If that doesn't hold, we could be looking for 277. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get that push to 285 or even 288 that we were hoping for. So I do think that we could be declining just a bit to 280 to 275. Then watch to see what happens with the ISM manufacturing numbers. Can this cause Tesla to bounce back up to 285, or does Tesla get a bigger rug pull back down towards like 268? It depends. This report was not the best of news for them, even if Tesla's like denying that the reports are true from the Wall Street Journal and many other sources. It's still not the best of news, right? It's still affecting us because the headlines are still circulating, and this really hurt Tesla's momentum. So we'll have to see if Tesla can get bought back up or not. I do think we're going to retest 280, then possibly even 275, and we'll see if we bounce to push back up once our manufacturing numbers come out or not. So be very, very careful, guys, with the way in which this is going to move. As far as SPY goes, we pumped very nicely to about 560. If we break past 560, we could go all the way up to like 562.5. So it's going to be two resistances to watch for. Um, we have 560, then 562. We have to see if we can break past 562 to push higher. If we don't, we're going to be at risk of returning to 555 or below. Of course, I do think that it depends on the manufacturing numbers. So we'll see if we get good numbers to break 562 to push more. If we don't break that, we could be dipping to 555 or below. So be very, very careful as time goes on. So that's going to be very key for how we end up continuing to move. So look at that 560 to 562 area. SPY is going to try to push towards that. We need to break that to continue to go higher. But the problem is with these manufacturing numbers, we'll see if SPY slows down. We're up 1% already. That's a nice move to the upside. But for the squeeze to continue, we have got to break 560 to 562. If we don't break that after the manufacturing numbers come out, we could be returning back down to fill this gap at 555. On the QQQ, we pushed very nicely to about 485, so it made a nice move. It's up 1.5%. But keep in mind with the manufacturing numbers, we need to break 485 to remain bullish to push for 488. If we can't hold above 485, we're going to be at risk of dipping back down towards 478. There's also a gap to fill back down to like 475 if that fails us. So it depends. When the manufacturing numbers come out, can we break 485 to continue to pump? If we can't, we could be returning to like 480 or below. So be careful with that data coming out. For the IWM, we pumped very nicely only to come back down. So we're looking for a test of 193.8. If that doesn't hold, we could be dipping to 192. We pushed very nicely, but now we're slowing down a bit, so be careful. With ES, we pumped very, very well to about 56.60. That is what my target was from yesterday. I did say we might be pushing there. If we're bullish, you want to hold above that to push to 56.80. If we can't, we could be dipping back down to like 5600 flat. So it depends on the manufacturing numbers. We need to break 56.80 to be bullish. If we can't, we could be returning to 5600. On NQ, we need to see this break 20,000, push to 20,200 or so. If 20,000 does not break, we're going to be at risk of dipping back down to this gap. It's about 19,850. So we'll see if that holds or not. Bitcoin's at 96,000, which is great, but keep in mind there's a bearish divergence developing on it. So I'm going to be very careful with this. It did pump very well, and it could try to go closer to like 97,000. But we need to get back above 97,000 to push. If we don't, we could return back down to like 95,000. For Tesla, like I said before, not the best of news about the Tesla board potentially replacing Elon Musk. Although Tesla's denying this, the effect of that news is still hurting the share price. So unless we get back above 285, we're going to likely be dipping to 280, then 275, and we'll see if we bounce off that or not. We're favoring downside for now. Nvidia pumped very nicely. We need to hold above 212 to continue. If we lose this, we could be dipping back down. So we're looking pretty good. I do expect us to gap up pretty hard, but then we'll see with this big gap below, and we'll see what happens with the manufacturing numbers, how this affects things. Apple's weak because of the big news that came out about the big violations that were going on, and also the investigation. If we lose 208, we could be dipping to 205, so be careful. Netflix could be retesting our 20 EMA at 1,100 flats. Coin pushed very nicely, but we're going to see if we could hold above 210. If we don't hold that, we could return to fill this gap at 204. Amazon pushed very nicely to 190. It's up 3%. We need to get back above 192 to be bullish. If we can't break 192, it could return to 186 depending on the manufacturing numbers. Meta pumped very nicely. It's about 590, up 7%. Can we continue? Yes, we need to continue to hold above 592 to continue. If we don't break that, it might retest like 574 and we'll see if we bounce. Microsoft pushed very nicely to about 430. We need to see if this holds. If it does break that, we're looking for the gap fill for 440 next. So overall, I do expect a huge gap up, and we'll see if we end up projecting or not. But overall, Microsoft is quite strong. Google's showing some weakness though. It needs to continue to hold above 163. If not, I'm looking for 161 and 159 as our targets. The VIX, it dipped quite a bit. We'll see if this gaps down or not, and what kind of reaction get. We're still waiting for that. But keep in mind, we still have a falling wedge, and we'll see what that leads to. So keep that in mind. Anyways, unfortunately, Tesla's weak compared to the market. The market's going to gap up, but Tesla will likely gap down. Might slow down to 280, if not 275, and we'll see if we bounce. But look for a big move once we get these ISM manufacturing numbers at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 30 minutes after the stock market opens. Anyways, thank you for listening, and peace out.